Welcome to the MPNFL Division 1 footy show. Another big one ahead on GameFace. The guest tonight from the Pines Footy Club, Tim Bongetti, one of the stars of their team, and another one who's fast becoming a superstar, Luke Delmo, joining us. Tempers rise at Regent Park with both coaches from Pines and Eddie Asp going head-to-head. Surprise, surprise. Rosebud's rise continues as they cement a top 5 spot by consigning a disappointing Bomb Beach to just 1 goal for the entire day. Mornington reignite the relegation battle after upsetting an out-of-form Frankston YCW. It's 6 losses from 7 for YC, while Bombers continue to be the Port Adelaide of the MPNFL. Not quite untrustworthy, but definitely inconsistent and puzzling. And there's been a late move in the clearances. And we'll tell you about that very shortly as well in player clearances. Pines losing a player, Mornington, they pick up one. But let's start by welcoming a man that's a regular on our footy show, Tim Bongetti. Welcome, Bongo, all the way from South Marine tonight. You needed a cut, lunch and a map to get here, but it's good that you got that cut, lunch and a map because you found us comfortably. Welcome.
It was just on the way home, mate. Just detoured off the freeway. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Chris Holcomb's here, Tony Blackford's here, and of course one of the very good players in this Pines team now, Luke Delmo, joins us as well. Welcome, Luke.
Thanks for having me.
Now let's start with tempers rising at Regent Park. Edie's came out hard. They said, do not be intimidated. I'm wearing now an Eagles beanie tonight. I didn't mention that. Sorry, Tim. Sorry, Luke, because Tammy, who does a lot of good work for us here at GameFace behind the scenes in the social media area, is a mad keen Eddie Ass fan. She said, Dan, because we're playing Pines tonight, because there was a bit of passion in the match, that's what she liked to call it, you've got to wear an Eagles beanie. Doesn't mean I'm completely on their bandwagon. I like them as a club, but I'm happy to wear the beanie tonight. And if Bongo wants to let one go at me, I'll be in more trouble than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
Looks really good on you too, Dan.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah.
Saves the light reflecting off the
cranium.
I agree with that. I'll go with that. Tough, hard game of footy, Bongo.
And it was. It's the way I love it. As I'll always say to everyone, a game of footy is meant to be played pretty physical and everyone's out there to win. So, yeah, it was just a normal game of footy, I guess, with a little bit more...
Spine.
Yeah, just a little bit more feeling, I guess, in the game.
We won't go into it too much, but there was an incident out there and you and Tim Mannix, who were involved in that incident, had a laugh over a beer after the game. So the attitude is, what happens on the field stays on the field.
Absolutely. The way Tim plays his footy is the way I like to say I play my footy, and I will with everyone off the ground, no matter who it is. As you see, you know, I have my contests with a few other teams, and I'll always go in and have a beer with them no matter what, mate. That's footy, I guess.
Paddy Swain gets fired up a bit. He's one of the great men in footy, Luke, isn't he? He's great to talk to. He loves his footy. He's so passionate about it. I love talking to him about footy. I was a bit surprised when I heard he'd gone to the tribunal, but I have seen him at ground level. He does get engaged, and obviously he's got in trouble with the umpire. He's at the tribunal tonight. Are you confident he'll get off with such an impeccable record?
Yeah, he should be all good. Should get off. It wasn't too much. I think he just got a little bit over passionate, but I mean, I think he'll be sweet.
He does fire up, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think the big disappointing thing for Pat was that there was a few contests that he felt that should have gone Pines' way. He felt that if those free kicks had been given, then Edith Vale would have been set back, and then they would have had to concentrate going for the footy again.
Isn't that just part of the game tone?
Oh, well, I think it is, but they were blatant. In his eyes, he thought that they were blatant free kicks that weren't given, and he felt that if they were given, then they go back and slot a goal or whatever, and then Edith Vale have to focus again rather than focusing on the man.
Does that give him a right to abuse an umpire, though,
Still
Tony?
shouldn't abuse an umpire. No. And I think knowing Paddy... And Luke and Tim, I think knowing Paddy the way I know him reasonably well now, being a school teacher, he's been so good in his primary school in bringing in footy at a lower level to get the kids enjoying it and having a great time. Do you think, Luke, deep down he'd be disappointed?
Yeah, I reckon he might be a little bit disappointed. He can't really do much about it now, but I guess he would be, looking back on it, a little bit disappointed, but... Yeah, it wasn't too much.
Were you near there?
I was pretty close. I'll just chime in just to help Luke out because he keeps getting a hard-hitting question. I reckon with Paddy, he is very passionate and he does put his heart and soul and everything into his preparation and game day because that's the way he is. And I reckon incidents leading up to it, he probably felt maybe things could have gone the other way, and him wearing his heart on his sleeve still
sticking up for you blokes.
still thinking he's there. He wants to be a part of it, and seeing something happen to one of his players, I reckon he just wants to stick up for us. And okay, maybe he went with the line a little bit, but we all know Paddy as a person, and everyone knows him in the league, and you know how much he loves the game and how good he is for the competition.
That's why we love him, because he's passionate.
As soon as we have a result on that tribunal, we'll have it for you on the GameFace Division 1 Footy Show. Now, Luke, you've been recruited from Pearsdale. Some would say it's the best recruit of the year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Your footy has been magnificent. I saw you in that match and interviewed you after the game against Sorrento, and you were just at another level. Why do you think your footy has gone to another level this season?
Yeah, well, it'd be the everything at Pines, the whole program at Pines, and having blokes like Luke Potts, Chewy, and that to learn off on the ground.
Tim?
Yeah, Bongo. He's not so much in the midfield, but off field and leadership-wise, he's been awesome. But and I had to spend a little bit of time down forward early, so yeah, he was good down
And it's
there.
great for you too, mate, to come to a club, and this is no disrespect to Pearsdale.
Well,
but
this sounds like
to
it's going to
come-
be disrespectful.
Yeah, but just to come to
Hold on.
An environment that you're surrounded by a lot of A-grade players.
Yeah, that was probably. I'm good friends with Lockie Marshall, but that was probably one of the big draw cards to come to Pines, was especially in the midfield, the talent and the age bracket of, except for Chewy, he's extremely old, but
It's still going well. He'll be back this week, I believe.
Yeah, soon he'll be back. But yeah, that was one of the big draw cards, the experience and the level of the footy the blokes in the midfield have played. So
I think,
When I say this week, next game, of course.
I think Pines have had two of the best recruits of the year. I reckon that big fella pumping the ball down your throat's been going all right too, hasn't he?
yeah, no, Russ is awesome.
I think he's flying under the radar a little bit on sides, because Pines obviously coming out and they're banking wins away, and obviously stories with Aaron coming back and Potsy having such a good year and Luke coming on and doing so well. They forget of how much of an influence that guy's having on football games at the moment.
Yeah, he makes us look a lot better than what we
And he
maybe.
probably in games he's leading our tackle count.
Yeah.
That's
He's a bully coach,
that's the
isn't
type of player. He's a ball hits a deck, mate, and he just fights like
I think
hell
he had 9
to
at
keep it
half-time
in.
or something the other week. He had,
Yeah.
Just on players, boys, you've lost Corey Ash. He's gone to Mornington. He's made the decision to go there. He's been cleared. Are you surprised?
Bombshell.
You're disappointed.
Bombshell, Dan.
Is it bombshell?
That was Dan's bombshell. wasn't
That
it?
was, you just threw that in there.
Very, very low key. I can
Hey?
announce
Hey,
a game
what's going
face.
on? We're
It is a
breaking
game
news.
face exclusive. I've heard both coaches have confirmed it. Simon Goosey at Mornington and Paddy Swain at Pines. That Luke has decided he doesn't want to tag anymore. Corey has decided, not Luke. Corey has decided he doesn't want to tag anymore. I think Luke is happy to be in the team.
Maybe he will be
Freudian
tagged
slip.
now.
Corey that doesn't want to tag anymore. He wants to go and play in the midfield at Mornington, and that is what is happening. Are you A, surprised, or B, more disappointed by that?
Both.
Both.
Surprised, seeing though he's played every game. He's played on the best midfielders in the competition. You run with Sean Downey, and he's having 25 plus. So you're definitely around the football enough to be an attacking footballer. You just change your mindset. I think that's all it is a mindset. And you can pick the ball up and you can have 20 instead of having 25 against you. I think that was the biggest thing for me, and leaving it at this time of the year.
Especially because he missed out last year.
Yeah, correct.
Broke a wrist. Yeah.
And you're sitting on top of the ladder, and he's in your starting 18. He's played every game this year. Wouldn't the sight to me to play in a premiership
That's
be driving him?
I would have thought that there'd be plenty of hunger. Luke, did it mystify you? I mean, knowing that he missed out on the premiership last year and there's an opportunity of going back to back?
Yeah, just if I was him, I'd be doing everything. Like, I would sort of got the same mentality. I'd do anything. I'd play any sort of role to stay in this side because I've got such an opportunity. So it was a little bit confusing and a little bit strange, but yeah, good luck to him, I guess.
Well, yes, that's gone through, and it'll be interesting how he goes with Mornington when they resume their season, like Pines next week. Now is the time to make the move to Swiss Locker. Who's in charge of all the apparel at your club, boys? Who is? Bongo? Luke?
Kim Jackson, I would say.
She does a great job, Kim, as the Vice President.
Or Pat Cornell.
Righto. And I'm not sure whether they're with Swiss Locker, but they might be down the track. Swiss Locker will be in touch very soon to organise a time to meet and show all the latest gear available. Your club should do the same. Don't wait until next year. Get in early and make sure your apparel requirements are taken care of by Swiss Locker. We'll take a break and be back with more on the MPNFL Division 1 Footy Show. Our guest from the Pines Footy Club, Luke Delmo, and also Premiership player Tim Bongetti. This is the MPNFL Division 1 football show on GameFace. Great to be with you. Our guests tonight from the Pines Football Club, Luke Delmo and Tim Bongetti. Happy birthday, Bongo, for earlier in the week. You turned 30. It's been a big week. Your footy club won, and your very close mate, in fact, your best mate, played a lot of footy with him growing up, David Zaharakis, played his 200th game for the Bombers last week, and I believe you were there in the unbelievable comeback in getting over the line against the Giants.
It's funny how my childhood, he's always taken the limelight. And once again, this interview is about me and the Pines, and he's taken over again. It's all about Zach.
I thought you were older than 30.
Might be the big bum.
Did you think he was good enough to make it?
Absolutely.
Good enough to play as many games as he's played?
Yeah, when you're kicking it down the full forward's throat and he's doing all the work for you, Dan, I guess you look good. So, he was definitely good enough, and he's obviously hats off to him. He's had a good career, and to play 200 league games. I've never done it, I've never done it. So he's done very well, and it was good to go and watch your mate run out for the 200th time, and then
they looked gone, didn't they?
They did, and he had, which we've given it to him after the game. He received a handball running 45 out, shot at goal to tie the game with only 4 or 5 minutes to go, and he kicked it out on the full. So,
still copping it.
I believe you might have almost been in the picture. You were in the second deck, weren't you, with your hands out when Carl Hooker kicked the winning goal?
Yeah, we got a little bit excited, Dan, because we're all going back to his house for a quiet ale. Quiet beer.
So did you get training off, Bongo? You got training off on Thursday?
No training.
No training for the big fella.
I did a couple of 400s around Etihad Stadium trying to find the right day.
That'll do.
It's like that bloke that rings up the boss and says that I'm not coming in today, I'm crook, and there he is on the golf course.
Correct.
And there's Paddy watching the footy and saying, oh, there's bloody Bongo.
No wonder he was so upset Saturday.
Now, Luke, talking of AFL footy, you played in a very, very good first 18 football team at Hailbury College in the APS competition, and there were some darn good footballers in that team, but you still didn't win the title.
Well, unfortunately, the under-18 championships struck at the wrong time. We lost about 9 or 10 players. So
Yeah, the Brayshaw boys?
Yeah, and a few others, but our depth was tested and we got rolled by a couple of teams. So then we didn't lose another game after them, but because there's no finals in APS, we didn't finish top.
So yeah, Josh Battle.
Yep.
Davey Juniaki.
Yep. Hamish and Andy.
Hamish and Andy, the younger two, and Hamish is at West Coast and Andy's at Fremantle. Paulson who went to Carlton, didn't he? Yeah.
And Jack Scrimshaw
is now at
Hawker.
Yes.
There's also
Hamish and
there's a
Andy.
few. I think there's about 10 or so.
True.
Yeah,
Did you think that all those guys would be drafted, or most of them would be drafted?
Yeah, most of them. They're all very talented. Yeah, most of them I thought would get drafted. Couple of surprises, but. Yeah,
What was Matthew Lloyd like as a coach?
Yeah, he was good. He just because he's so experienced in footy, his insight to footy was really good, and I've spent a little bit more time forward at school, so he was really good for it. And Josh was a forward too, so me and Josh Battle were pretty close with Lloydie, so yeah.
Did he ever crack a smile? He never seems to crack a smile. He's very serious, Matthew, isn't he?
Yeah, we came back from 11 points down with about 2 minutes left one day, and we kicked 3 in about 2 minutes and against St Kevin's, and he was probably the happiest of the bunch. So
Really?
That's the only time I ever saw him smile.
Yeah, he never smiles. He's quite intense. Lovely bloke. I've met him a few times, but he's very serious.
Very passionate.
Very serious. Now, in regard to interviews or important stuff that we have on GameFace, there's a lot of important stuff that we put on the GameFace app. Make sure you go to the GameFace app to see the full interview between myself and the AFL Southeast boss, John Anderson. Lots of big topics to talk about. We even talked about the streaker. We talked about the fact that security guards need to be a little bit stronger. By the way, that's not me. That looks nothing like me. The lower body's not too bad, but the upper body, I reckon I had a better head than the streak, with the greatest respect to him.
He might be on soon.
Who?
The streaker, we might be a special guest shortly.
Oh,
I've got a contact who may have him in the studio.
Yeah,
a little bit like when they had Helen D'Amico on the Footy Show all those years later. They got Bruce Dooling.
Where did that come
Well,
from?
1982, Richmond Carlton. Blackers couldn't remember that.
Yeah, she talked to Sam, and Sam talked about the ginger hat.
Hang on.
Let's move right along. But just briefly on that, the big topic,
Yes.
Luke and Bongo, you guys will be in the finals. That there's only going to be one final for each division at Frankston Park. That'll be the grand final. All the other finals will be at other venues. Are you disappointed by that?
It's the first I've actually heard of it. And yeah, I guess we are, because it's, playing there the other week. We got to play before the VFL, even though we're up very early, might I add. But we got to play on the best ground in the peninsula, I would say, and we don't get to play on it once throughout the finals. It's a little bit disappointing, but look, if you get a chance to play on it that day, then you've got a good chance at it. Yeah.
It's a different shape ground too than anything that we've got down on the peninsula.
It is.
So you played a little bit differently too.
How do you feel about that, Luke? Would you obviously prefer to play at Frankston Park regularly?
Yeah. Lucky we got to play there the other week, so we get a little bit of a test run. But I'm just excited to play finals when we get there and when we qualify. So, but I'm not really fussed where we play. But yeah.
Now, one team that wouldn't be fussed with they play if they make the finals of Rosebud, who dropped their first three and they've had a couple of narrow losses in recent times. But they've won their last two and their rise continues as they cement a top 5 spot for the time being anyway by consigning a very disappointing Bomb Beach to 1 goal. GameFace's game of the day, Paul Wilson was there. We had a new commentator, Matt Cox, and I believe he did a great job. And he spoke to Lockie Armstrong regarding his 3-goal performance for Rosebud.
Welcome here to the Rosebud Rooms after the game. Their good victory today thanks to the Frankston RSL, and with their 3-goal kicker today, Lachlan Armstrong, mate. Well done today in very tricky conditions.
Thanks,
out
mate.
There.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for that.
What was going through your mind when you were kicking into the breeze up the bay end of the ground, that first one where it was coming straight at you?
Yeah, I know. I was just trying not to shank it. That's all that was going through my mind. I was sort of going for the goals, obviously, but yeah, I'm a bit of a shank of the kick, so. Yeah, no, pretty lucky, I think. The wind worked in my favour.
Felt you settled into the game early on really well. Got accustomed to the conditions early on. Is that how it was out on the ground?
Yeah, definitely. It was obviously we wanted to kick with the wind to start with. We did, and just our forward pressure, I think, sort of kept us in it. And then the back line withstood. I think we kicked them to 1 goal overall. So it all come together.
Sean Downey, outstanding. Hulks, you believe he should even be looked at by a VFL club, don't you? Getting better each week. And Jackson Casey tagged him but got a corky early.
No, I don't think they should look at him, Dan. They are looking at him.
Right.
My word was a couple of weeks ago that he's on the radar of numerous, one in particular, but numerous AFL clubs, whether it be list or rookie list or be affiliated with their VFL side. And we hear some whisper during the week that he's actually keen to go down that path. So I don't know if we'll see Sean Downey in the comp next year, because he's just gone to the next level. He had his breakout year last year and he's just taken it to a new level.
Their last month has been outstanding.
Rosebud have been fantastic.
Yeah, unlucky to lose that game against Sorrento, and then
should have beaten the Bombers. So 6 goals up, fell away. Yeah.
You guys got done by Rosebud.
Yeah, they beat us. Yeah, and he was very good.
Yeah.
So you could understand why clubs are looking at
direct opponent, Luke, wasn't he, that day?
It's Corey.
it. It might have been someone who left there.
Now, Bomb Beach's only goal, whack, was a soccer off the ground, and that was in the last quarter. So, disappointing day for Bomb Beach. We talk about the Bombers being a bit untrustworthy, like Port Adelaide in the AFL, but Bomb Beach against the good sides, Blackers and Hulks, let themselves down, don't they?
Can I ask you, and you can ask all the boys here, right? I like Bomb Beach and I reckon they're fantastic, and they're, at the moment, every time they get challenged, they're found wanting. But what are they missing? They're coached well. They've got big key forwards. They've got good midfielders. They've got good key backs.
They do.
And they've got a game winner in McDonald. What are they missing? What's not clicking there?
It's between the ears, isn't it, as they say in the
Well, I
classics?
don't know. That's what I'm asking, because I can't see sort of any definite weaknesses in what they're doing. And even, like I said, their coaching is fantastic. Hughesy and TDL.
They seem to need a big game. They had a big game the other week, the 2 milestones for Jackson Casey and Shane McDonald.
Yeah, but who were they
Blackers,
playing?
And they also had, they're playing YCW.
Yeah, see, they were cooked a month ago.
Games? Damn.
They were cooked. They're
1 in
finished.
7.
Yeah, I know, it's struggling. And the win was a goal in the last minute against Edie Asp.
So we're not slapping Bomb Beach, but we want to know why it's not sort of gelling with what they're trying to do at the moment.
Now, Mornington reignite the relegation battle after upsetting, talking of YCW, upsetting an out-of-form Frankston YCW. Now, Simon Goosey, and I spoke to him during the week, and he reiterated what has been said here. I know everyone's saying it's the battle for relegation, but I haven't mentioned that once. That is outside noise. I'll have Corey Ash joining them after the bye, which is this week, and then their run home is Mount Eliza, 50-50. Bond Beach, depending what Bond Beach turns up, 50-50. Yeah.
Mount Eliza are their chance to win.
They are.
Mount
Eliza are struggling. That's a Sunday standalone match too. They are struggling, Mount Eliza. Rosebud will be tough. Bombers, well, who knows? I mean, I think Bombers are a good enough side. And
Bombers first time around.
And Bo Muston has said to me, if we can get everyone back, the problem is they're not getting everyone back. If they can get everyone back, we could give it a shake. But they're losing too many games to be in contention. Then Sorrento, which will be hard, and Dramana, which will be hard. They want to hope that they're right in the mix and maybe out of relegation danger, which means they're really going to have to win the next 4 by the time they play Dramana and Sorrento at the end of the season. Can they avoid relegation, Blackers?
Yeah, they can give it a shake. They can give it a shake, but it just depends on how Edithvale go as well. They were pretty hard at it last week, weren't they, Edithvale? And I think Edithvale will beat Bomb Beach next week.
Well, the interesting thing then is it takes them to 4 wins, but their percentage is much more inferior. Who would have thought that we might even be vaguely talking about Frankston YCW? I know they've got a very good percentage, but they can't win a game of footy at the moment, Hogs, can they?
But there's still 2 games in a percentage in front of
Yeah,
them.
I think
they are.
I think you want to get another win under their belt before you start talking about possibility of getting off the bottom, because that's a tough run home.
Mount Eliza, I think, is a winnable game.
Yeah, it's a winnable game. Then you look at the others. I don't think they'll beat Bombers at Bombers second time around. I don't think they'll let them. Then you got Bomb Beach, Rosebud, Sorrento, Dramana. So it's a tough run. So I reckon give them another win and then you maybe start talking about getting off the bottom. But not until then.
Luke Tapscott, talking of coaches, back to best on the weekend. We know he's having trouble with his knee, but 4 goals. We know, boys, that there's been some, I would have thought, some interesting battles on the field with Luke Tapscott, but when he's playing well, he's a fantastic player, Tim, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's one of the best players in the competition, and you're correct. When he's up and going, he's very hard to stop. So if he's spending a bit more time forward because of that foot, then he's going to be one to watch come towards the end of the year.
No doubt about that. They think they'll almost be at full strength after the bye. A couple of players still overseas, but they feel that they'll be pretty close to having almost their list back, including Nick Marston, who's a very important member
Nick
of that.
played last week.
He played last week.
Yeah.
Man.
Back in full strength. He's got 1 game under his belt.
Is it Dramana?
Yeah, but they won't have Gibson and Hallahan, James. So there's 2 of their best players.
That's right.
And Corp's going overseas, so they won't.
Well, they're saying back to full strength of players that
Available.
are available.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for clearing that up, Dan.
Daniel Grant, he'll be back.
Yes, definitely.
Really?
And Tommy Langford's had a couple of games now, so he should be
been
okay.
well, yeah.
Yep. Now, the Bombers, we talk about them being the Port Adelaide of the MPNFL, inconsistent and puzzling. Is anyone happy to say maybe, and I think they're a great club. I think they've done a lot of good work off the field in the mental health space. But in regard to their football, they must absolutely frustrate the president, Batty, Blackers, and frustrate everyone else. They mightn't say that publicly, but privately, because they just can't put it together for long enough.
I reckon what you said about what Bo said before, like they've had a big injury list. Corey McCurry's gone overseas. A few other young fellas have gone overseas as well, Dan, and then Bo hasn't been playing. Bowman hasn't been playing.
They've been smashed by injury, you're right.
Scoreless for
100%.
2 quarters.
But they weren't going to beat Dramana last week, so I don't know what really.
That's
No surprise.
No.
So that wasn't. It's more of those games when you get your Rosebud, Mount Eliza, YC, those games that are really going for that last spot where you see if they're in the mix or not.
And Dramana have got Gahan and Howson coming back. Howson's been overseas, and Gahan, of course, has had his injury woe, so he'll be a handy addition in the back half, and Howson as well as a lockdown player.
They're just ticking over, but you got to remember they're
They've
playing
had
out of their
injuries,
skins.
haven't they?
The first 9 games, they're playing out of their skins,
They were.
banking those wins.
And they lack the depth because their reserves are struggling and under-19s are struggling.
You guys played Dramana.
They were very good, weren't they?
Is that down at Dramana?
At Dramana.
Yeah.
Did you think, Tim, and your coach disagreed with me? You can disagree with your coach if you want, because I think you have plenty of power at times if you want to. I said to him, and Luke, you can answer this too, they got you on the outside run. Did you believe that they got you on the outside run that day? I thought you liked a bit of pace to go with them.
I definitely lack a bit of pace. I think,
Yeah, but your role's to clunk the marks.
in saying pace, I reckon pace is a different game in football because it's a lot of people say slow the game down, but it's not slowing it; it's controlling the football. And I reckon they beat us because they do hit the targets and they do hit targets. They don't turn the footy over, and we cost ourselves. We turn the ball over, and they made us pay. When you got blokes like, I'm looking here again, Sam Fowler's kicked another 4.
Johnson.
He just keeps kicking goals. Semi Gertz.
Having a good year.
They're two good players, you know. And I haven't seen them previously before because they've only come up this year. But I guess that was an eye opener for me because not playing against them and the standard of footy they do put on the park.
Well, what did you think of them, Luke? Obviously, you'd seen them a bit when you were at Pierstar, but they're a pretty good side, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really good side. They're good by foot, what Bongo was just saying, especially at half back, and that was probably, like, off half back. That was probably our problem. We kept turning the ball over going forward, and then probably made them look quicker because we weren't set up behind the footy, and Sam Fowler and that could get on the end of them out the back and that.
Now, guests, this is a serious question. Who do you bank with? Bongo, who do you bank with?
I can't answer that one.
Oh, please be serious.
Mate.
Well, no, what did you say,
Bendigo?
Bendigo?
Come and give me some good offers, mate.
Oh, you're meant to get involved in it. What about you,
Bendigo
Luke? Who do you
rules.
bank with?
Yeah.
Good on you, Luke. You're
Well
an
done,
idiot,
Lukey.
Bongo. You had to get involved in the game. Oh, Bendigo's bank donate 20% of all profits back to local community, Bongo. GameFace just changed all their banking over to Bendigo Bank. Good on you, Glenn.
20% going to be huge this year. Yeah.
Massive. If
Bongo
you'd like to
doesn't
show
use
your
a bank, it's all in his
appreciation
mattress.
for all the great work the Bendigo Bank do for the local
Not with
community,
your wife there.
change your banking over to them right now. Crackers Keener does that. He's got all these paper bags of cash.
Dan, there's your
Great
name
man.
dropping again. Your name dropping again. Listen to him.
So Bendigo Bank's one of our great sponsors. And Michael Roach is my financial advisor. That's all right.
If your bank isn't doing the right thing by you, change to one you can feel better about.
Now, looking at what happened in round 11, we all were right with Sorrento against Mount Eliza. That was a good result. Gee, I couldn't tip my hat, could I? I've gone for the Bombers to get over the line, and they didn't get over the line against Dramana. There's a lot of people who have got red face regarding Frankston YC against Mornington. We didn't pick that.
Great job by the doggies.
Rosebud, I certainly picked Rosebud. You didn't, Holt.
No, that's why I was so dirty on Bomb Beach.
Yeah, well, you didn't get it right this week, mate.
Anyway.
And Edithvale Aspendale up against Pines. I think we all picked Pines.
That's the boys from Sorrento.
But the boys from Sorrento picked Edithvale Aspendale. They sure did. Shannon Gladman and Leepa Holke. Now, the goal kicking, it's very interesting at the moment, the goal kicking, because
Jacko's coming with it.
Well, it's quite an open competition, the goal kicking. But Leepa Holke, 52 goals. Jackson Calder, he's on 42. So Paholke kicked 1 last week to go to 52. Calder 5 to go to 42. Trent Dennis Lane didn't kick any. He only kicked 1 for the day, and that was a socket goal in the last quarter. Bond Beach and that horrible loss to Rosebud. He remains on 30. Sam Fowler, 4 to move to 26. Ethan Johnson, his teammate, on 22. And Joseph Fisher, again with Bond Beach not kicking any bar 1 goal. He is sitting on 19 goals.
It's a terrific year from Jacko. Jackson Calder. To kick 42 at this stage from a side that's won 2 games and getting the delivery years is a cracking year.
What do you do, boys, for the week off?
I'm actually going a little trip down to the Yarra Valley, mate.
Ooh.
To taste a few nice grapes.
Nice. Yeah.
What about you, Luke? What are you going to do?
I might go watch my brother play at Somerville and relax a little bit.
Yeah, he's going all right, isn't he? He's coaching the under-19s. Is he happy with everything this year?
Yeah, no, he's because he was over at Pierce as well, and then he went back to Somerville, and because he wanted to do a little bit of coaching, so he's got himself a role at the 19s and working himself into the ones as well.
Good on him. That's fantastic. He was good the other week too in their narrow loss to Chelsea.
He wears those stupid orange boots.
Yeah, he does. He does. I hate all the orange boots, although my son wears them. And I said, Alex, how many Brownlows have you won? What do you mean, Dad? What do you mean? He said he likes the orange boots because they make him stand out, but he plays pretty well like everyone else. I'm not having a go at your brother, mind you, Luke. Anyway, looking at the 2 games this week, everyone else having byes. Dramana and Frankston YCW. Now, if YCW have any ambitions to play in the finals, Blackers, they just must win this, but I couldn't see them beating Dramana at Dramana, even though Dramana did lose there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, at home?
Yeah.
Early on in the season, YC beat Dramana.
Watch that game.
That was their first loss, wasn't it?
Yep, it was.
And it was they really did they bully him that day?
I got sprayed at the quarter time huddle that day.
Did you?
Yeah. one of the runners come up and had a go at me from Dromana because I tipped YC. But no, look, they were right with them till half time, and then the experience of YC ran over the top. But fast forward.
At home.
They can't kick goals, YC.
No,
They can't.
Bar that match against Sorrento when they should have won.
they kicked 8 in the first quarter, Dan.
And Streety's back at Richmond.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Credlin?
Credlin's back there. Well, he was injured when they had to buy, but he'll go back there.
I think so.
Mincho's back, but it doesn't matter at the moment. They just can't find the goals.
What about Bomb Beach and Bomb Beach and EDS? Sorry, two teams that do not like each other whatsoever. They're neighbours. Bomb Beach at home, you'd think can win it, but I'm not sure they're playing well enough. They're inconsistent. EDS, but are they good enough to win it? It's a 50-50 game for mine.
You blokes saw them first hand last week. Have they improved a little bit? Or?
Edie, I still reckon their forward line is a good forward line.
Alan's kicking goals because Dan wrote him off 2 months ago, but he's starting to kick goals again, which was fantastic. Monahan's been in the best the last 5
Sure,
weeks.
Shane Allen would know who I am. If I walked down the street, he'd have no idea who I am.
I reckon he would. And,
No, he wouldn't.
And also, Monahan's been in the best the last 6 weeks after you said he was too slow, Dan. So he's going all right as well.
I think I said Monahan was too slow. I said some of the taller players like a bit of
I think he said the recruits from Noble Park, which incorporates those two, were too slow. So we'll go with that anyway, mate.
maybe ageing. Okay, you go with that.
But I still reckon Bomb Beach, I reckon they've got too much to play for. They're not going to cop kicking 1 goal. They would have had a hard week on the track, and I reckon that they'll bounce back this week.
I think EDS might just get the job
I
done.
think Edithvale will win. Yeah.
Do you want
Luke?
a pineapple on it?
Yeah, we'll have a pineapple on it.
Thank you, Slow. I still owe me a
I
pineapple
still owe
from
you
last time.
a fruit pineapple is what I owe you. That's what it is. I've worked out what a pineapple is. Not having a lot of that in the past.
Who did you ask?
What do you think,
Not crackers.
Glenn? What do you think, Luke?
I'm going to go Hulk, you know,
What do you reckon, Bongo? You know
gonna go-
exactly what a pineapple is too, don't you?
Definitely. I'm going to go Bomb Beach, but I reckon Edie will put up a very good fight. I reckon it'll be a good game.
Boys, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, boys.
Let's hope you've still got your coach with you this week. He doesn't get suspended. It'll be very interesting as to what happens.
Who takes over if he does get a week? What do you get, the fruit picker?
In the late 80s,
Yeah.
I played a game at Box Hill at the City Oval there.
Yes.
And their coach at the time was suspended, and he had a cherry picker, and he got to the centre of the huddle.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen that done
I
before.
can't remember the name of his name, but yeah.
So they've brought it all the way in. So
So the cherry picker's on the edge of the
It
ground,
goes out
and the boys huddled around.
like a
Wow.
Roman emperor.
Far off the ground.
Yeah.
I've seen the same.
Yeah.
boys, thanks so much for coming in. It's been a great show. I'll take that off
Lose
now.
that for
Yes, I'll
Mandy.
lose
Put it back
that.
on, put it
But
back
I wore
on.
that for I wore that for Mandy tonight. I wore that for the Ox as well. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Ox.
Pine's face? Isn't that what Lee calls it?
Yeah,
Pine's face?
well, he has called it Pine's face. Mind you, Sorrento face, they
Eagles face
get a fair go. Eagles face today. We change every week. Red Hill face in the second division show at times. Luke, you're having a wonderful year, mate. I hope
Well
the good
done, mate.
form continues. With Corey Ashgone, you might get a role as a tagger, and if you do that, you could be a very important player come final
There's another
time.
spot for you at Mornington
Have
if
you
you
guys
start
got
tagging
Mornington?
blokes.
Have you guys got Mornington before the season ends?
No, we've played them twice, and I reckon that was half the reason why I went there.
There wouldn't
Thank
be
you,
two.
Bongo. Good to have you with us once again, mate. Safe travelling back to South Morang and enjoy the week off. And we'll be back with more footy next weekend. Get your game face on.